Let's talk about pie graphs. Let's start by noticing what we need in order to complete a pie graph. So the first thing that we need is a title. The title of the pie graph that we have as our example here is Count of the Months Students Were Born In. We also need some labels, so you can see each section of the pie has a label with it that have the months of the year. So we've got January, we've got June, here's May, February. If you continue going around, you'll see all of the different months. Another thing that's important to know about pie graphs is that pie graphs are created by percents. And if you look at the different sections of the pie graph here, you can see that the biggest sections of the graph represent the biggest percents. So for example, July has 25% of the graph, and you can see that that's the largest section that we have here in our pie graph. There's a few different months that have the same percent. You can see that June, this green section, and March, this blue section, and then April, this kind of mustard colored section, those all represent 15%. And if you look at those three wedges in the pie, they're all the same size. One of the things that we can do to try to make an accurate pie graph is to think about how big the angle should be for each section of our graph. So what we would need to do is take our percentage. So for example, looking at March is 15%, and we would convert that percentage to a decimal. So if I convert that percent to a decimal, it's going to be 0.15. Then all we need to do from there is to take that decimal and multiply it by 360 degrees. We know that the central angles in a circle add up to be 360. So we're going to do 0.15 times 360 and we get 54 degrees. That means that 15% of the circle should have a 54 degree angle. All of the pie pieces are proportional to their percent. Let's see if we can answer a couple of questions now, looking at a new pie graph. So this pie graph is telling us about the Miller family budget. You can see that we've got different colors here representing different sections. So food here is representing the red section, entertainment is this orange section, utilities are yellow, savings are green, and then finally housing is blue. So what we want to do to start with is see if we can figure out what percent of the Miller family budget is spent on housing. And just looking at the initial graph, you can see that that's blank. We know though that a full graph put together is going to represent 100% of the budget. So if we look at the other pieces of data that we have here and we total those up, so if we take the 20%, the 15%, the 10%, and the 20% that we know about the savings, utilities, entertainment, and food, and if we total those up together, we're going to get 65%. So to figure out the percentage that's left over for housing, we can do 100% minus 65% to figure out that there's 35% of the budget left over for housing. Then to answer this last question, we know how much money the Miller family is going to spend every single week. Their grand total is $500. We want to know how much money they're going to spend on food. So we're not sure how much money they're going to spend on food, so I'm going to represent that with an X. We do know that their total is $500, so I'm going to set up a ratio of X over 500. And then if we look at the information that we have about food, food is representing 20% of their budget. So food is 20% out of 100% possible. What we would need to do from there is cross multiply. So I'm going to multiply 100 times X. And then I'm also going to multiply 500 times 20. And I'll get 100x equals 10,000. To get the final answer, what I would need to do is just divide here by 100. And if I do that, I'm actually going to get $100 as well. So my answer for how much money they spend on food is $100, and a proportion helped me to figure that out.